A Tennessee pastor authorities say was kidnapped by armed men in South Africa while preaching. Law enforcement there telling NBC affiliate WBIR Sullivan is being held for ransom and telling NBC News the investigation is at a very sensitive stage.
What if the man you trusted most, your spiritual guide, your pastor, was hiding a deadly secret?
In Livingston County, where a pastor is under arrest and facing charges.
He's accused of hiding a camera in the bathroom of a local church.
Pastor Arthur Shermer was a symbol of faith, love, and leadership.
Men are facing felony charges after a child predator sting. State police say it all started Monday in Bradford County. They targeted online child exploitation, including possession, distribution, and production of child sexual abuse material.
But behind the sermons and smiles lay a double life filled with lies, betrayal, and murder. You won't believe how far he went to protect his image. This isn't just a story, it's a warning. Miss this, and you'll miss one of the most shocking betrayals hidden behind a holy mask. Hit play before everyone else finds out the truth first. The pastor, Arthur Burton Shermer, known to his church as Pastor AB, was the kind of man people looked up to. He spoke with grace, led with confidence, and was always ready with a kind word or a warm smile. In the small town of Readers, Pennsylvania, he was not just a pastor. He was a symbol of faith, wisdom, and guidance. Every Sunday, the church would fill with people eager to hear his sermons. They believed in him, trusted him, and saw him as a man who lived by the Bible he preached. Born into a deeply religious family, Arthur's life was shaped by church traditions. His father was a serious, strict preacher who demanded discipline, while his mother was gentle and quietly supportive. Together, they showed Arthur what it meant to serve God and people. From a young age, Arthur had a charm that drew people in. His easy smile and caring nature made everyone feel safe and heard. Naturally, he followed the path to seminary and quickly rose through the ranks to become the senior pastor of Readers United Methodist Church. Arthur married Jewel, his high school sweetheart. She was kind, soft-spoken, and deeply committed to the church. She wasn't just a pastor's wife. She was his partner in every sense. She organized events, helped church members in need, and supported Arthur every step of the way. To the outside world, they were the perfect couple, a strong team built on love, faith, and shared values. But behind the smiles and sermons, something darker was growing inside Arthur. Dark desires. As time passed, Arthur began to struggle with the pressure of always appearing perfect. Being a pastor was not easy. People looked up to him, expected him to have all the answers, and live without mistakes. Slowly, he started to feel trapped. At home, his relationship with Jewel became cold and distant. She was kind and committed, but to Arthur, her love now felt like a burden. It was during this time that he met Cindy Musant, a grieving widow who came to him for support. Arthur saw her pain and her vulnerability. What started as counseling soon turned into late-night talks and emotional confessions. Arthur shared his frustrations, and Cindy listened. One day, a comforting touch became a kiss, and their connection crossed the line. They began meeting secretly, in his office, in hotels, even inside the church basement. Arthur knew it was wrong, but he couldn't stop. He was living a double life, a pastor in public and a man with dark desires in private. This secret affair would become the first step in a series of dangerous choices. Jewel's fall. Jewel began to notice changes in Arthur. He was distant, often away from home, and seemed cold during their conversations. She found traces of perfume on his clothes and heard him whispering on the phone. Her heart told her something was wrong. When she asked him about it, he blamed work stress, but Jewel wasn't convinced. She warned him that if he didn't tell the truth, she would go to the church board. For Arthur, this was a threat to everything: his reputation, his position, and his secret life with Cindy. He decided Jewel had to be silenced. On April 23, 1999, Arthur invited her to the church basement, pretending they needed to clean up for an event. Jewel, ever supportive, agreed. As she worked with her back turned, Arthur picked up a hidden crowbar. In a moment of cold determination, he struck her from behind. She collapsed, bleeding and silent. He staged the scene to look like she had fallen down the stairs, then called 911, pretending to be a shocked husband. The police believed it was an accident, but Jewel's death was no accident. It was murder. Second love. After Jewel's death, Arthur continued his life as if nothing had happened. To the community, he was a grieving husband, heartbroken but strong. No one suspected that behind his sad eyes was a man hiding a dark truth. Just 2 years later, in 2001, Arthur married again. His new wife, Betty Jean, was kind, full of life, and believed she had found her true partner in Arthur. She had no idea about the shadows in his past. To the outside world, they looked happy. Arthur spoke lovingly about his late wife and used his charm to win Betty's heart. But history began to repeat itself. Arthur became cold and controlling. He demanded obedience and grew angry when Betty questioned him. She noticed signs of another woman: lipstick stains, secret calls, and strange excuses. She even suggested counseling, but Arthur refused. Betty had unknowingly stepped into the same dangerous path Jewel once walked. While she hoped for healing, Arthur was planning his next move, one that would end in tragedy once again. Deadly drive. On the night of July 15, 2008, Arthur suggested a late-night drive with Betty. They had argued earlier, and he said he wanted to clear the air. Hoping for peace, Betty agreed. The road they took was quiet and empty, winding through a dark stretch of Route 477 in Pennsylvania. What Betty didn't know was that Arthur had planned everything. He had tampered with the tires earlier to stage a fake accident. As she dozed off in the passenger seat, Arthur suddenly swerved the car into a guardrail. The crash woke her in shock, but before she could react, Arthur grabbed a hidden metal pipe and attacked her. Betty screamed and struggled, but he was too strong. When she stopped moving, Arthur pulled her body out and placed it near the wrecked car, making it look like she was thrown during the crash. He called 911, pretending to panic. First responders found him crying and shaking, playing the perfect grieving husband again. But this time, the truth would not stay hidden for long. Cracks appear. At first, Betty's death looked like a tragic car accident. The crash, the damage, and Arthur's emotional act all seemed believable. But as investigators looked closer, things didn't add up. Betty's injuries were too severe. Deep wounds on her head and arms that didn't match a car crash. The tire marks on the road showed the car had been swerved on purpose, not lost by accident. Betty's family began to question everything. They remembered how careful she was, how she had shared her fears about Arthur's behavior. Her sister told police that Betty had been scared and suspicious of Arthur's late-night absences. The pressure grew and detectives reopened Jewel's case too. New forensic tests showed that her injuries didn't match a simple fall down the stairs. It became clear both women had died under suspiciously similar conditions, and Arthur was the last person to see them alive. His mask of sorrow began to slip, and the cracks in his story were finally showing. Judgment Day. As evidence piled up, Arthur Schirmer's world began to collapse. Investigators now saw a pattern: two wives, both dead in strange accidents, both married to the same man. The final blow came when Cindy Musant, Arthur's former lover, came forward. She revealed their long affair, how Arthur had lied and manipulated her, and how he spoke of feeling trapped in his marriages. Her testimony shocked the court. Along with blood evidence, inconsistencies in Arthur's stories, and witness accounts, prosecutors painted a clear picture of a man who would do anything to protect his secrets, even kill. The trial drew massive attention. People who once praised Arthur as a holy man now watched in disbelief. The jury found him guilty: first-degree murder for Betty's death and second-degree for Jewel's. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. The pastor who once preached about faith and love had become a symbol of betrayal. Justice had finally been served. Arthur Schirmer's dark secrets shocked a community and shattered lives. A man trusted by all, destroyed by his own deception. If this case gave you chills, wait till you hear what's next. Our upcoming video dives into the missing person case that was ignored until the internet got involved. A mind-blowing story of digital detectives who cracked a case the police overlooked. Don't miss it. Subscribe now and hit the bell icon so you're the first to know. Stay curious, stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one.